you guys? Welcome back to my channel, and we are about to blast off because I'm about to tell you guys about Astro Boy. Now, Astro Boy starts off with our main character Toby getting ready to take a test as the teacher just ended the video that they're gonna take a test on. Toby takes it and he aces it and he gets 100%. So he goes home. But after talking to his father, who is a hologram, because he is busy in the office, because he is the #1 scientist in Metro City. So, his father tells him, "That is great that you got 100% on the test, but I want you to keep learning and keep studying onward and upward, Toby." And then he tells Toby that he cannot take him to that he cannot take him that he Then his father tells him that he cannot take him to the museum today because he has a meeting with the president and they are talking about the blue corps and the peacekeeper. And the blue corps and the red corps is something that him and another scientist named Albert, his partner, created. So Toby thinks that this is really, 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 really cool to see. So he hot wires the robot and he messes with his systems to take him to the museum. And then when Toby gets to the museum, his father asks, "Toby, what are you doing here? I gave you strict instructions to go home, and I told Alfred to take you home." The robot. Well, his name is R. I'm sorry. The other scientist's name is Alfred and I got them mixed up. I'm sorry. So, he told R to take Toby home. He gave him strict instructions to take him home. But Toby wanted to see the new project with the peacekeeper, so the mayor actually let Toby join them, and Toby actually gives them some advice about robots, and then the mayor doesn't like it. The mayor doesn't like that Toby knows so much about technology and what he is trying to build for the next election so he can be nominated as president again. So, the president says, "Nobody likes a smart mouth kid." And then they lock him in the room, and the guards that locked him in there said to him, "Well, you can see the peacekeeper along with everybody else on TV tonight. But Toby acts like he is scared, and then he gets the bodyguard's key card to unlock the door, and he escapes. And let me just say this one thing. If you're a robot, shouldn't your brain be heightened? Like, aren't robots quick on their feet and heightened to do stuff? So you should have seen what he was trying to do, and like, I don't know, it just seems kind of strange. Like, how did the robot not notice that his key card is missing? So with Toby escaping, he actually does see the presentation of the blue core energy, and it's all good energy. And then the red core energy is all negative and bad energy. So the mayor says, this 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 blue core is all good sunshine and rainbows, right? And then Timber and Timber and Alfred said right. But the president wants to try the red core. But Alfred and Timber warn him that we don't know what the red core will do. With all due respect, Mr. President, we are not putting something that dangerous into something that dangerous. And then the president says, oh, boo-hoo. You have to take chances, and I have an election to win. So he puts the red core inside the robot. Anyway, when even the scientists who are working on the project say that they will never do that, he actually pushes the scientists out of the way and does it himself. And then the robot starts destroying everything. But the president thought that the robot would be on his side, because when he put the red core in him, he said, get me the blue core. But the robot didn't obey his command. And the robot is destroying everything with its... And the robot is destroying everything with its laser eyes. And the building is being shut down, and all the scientists are trying to stop the robot. So when the building is being shut down, Toby actually went closer to get a better look, but now Toby is stuck in there with the dangerous robot, and it turned out that the robot attacked Toby with its laser eyes, and it was actually put down. And it was actually destroyed in and, and the red core and the red cord was so strong that it actually took out the robot and Toby. So Timba's son is gone. And while Timba's son is gone, in his grief, Timba designs a robot that looks exactly like Toby, and it has all of Toby's memories. And Timba's friend Alfred brought the blue core to put in the robot that Timba made. And Timba hasn't eaten and slept in days. The scientists say. And Albert says, if you lose your son like that, and don't go crazy, because the scientists are calling him crazy. Albert says, then you are not a human being. So he gives him the blue core, but Albert does tell him, don't expect too much, Timba. Because he may not be like Toby, but Timba tells him he will be perfect. Perfect, just like Toby was. So, he puts the blue core in the robot. And at first, there is a big explosion. But the robot gets up and tries to walk, and he opens his eyes and he says, Dad. And then Timba says thank you to Alfred and tells Alfred that he is going to take it home. He's going to take Toby home. Quality time, bonding, all the good things. And then the robot Toby says, bye, Dr. Alfred. And then Dr. Alfred says, bye, Toby. And then Dr. Alfred says, how extraordinary. And then when robot when robot Toby is sleeping, the dad is waiting for him in his room, and he actually gives him a hug, and they actually discuss him going to school and saying how the dad decided that he shouldn't go anymore and that he should stay home, and the dad is going to teach him at home himself so that way they can spend more time together. And the robot R is is so weirded out that Toby is now a robot, but 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 R says, "It's good to see you again, Master Toby." So so after breakfast, Dr. Timba tries to teach Toby everything that he knows, but this Toby is different. Because when he first tells him about the math and that he used to read it to him to help him fall asleep every night, Toby doesn't seem that interested, and his dad just tells him just just read these again and get the old mind going, you know, whir and whir, he said. So when Dr. Timba leaves the room, Toby starts looking through the books and not liking them, but he does like the airplane models in the DVD. And in, in the Da Vinci theories. So he starts making paper planes out of the book pages. And R starts doing it with him, having fun, you know. And Toby actually lets him wear his hat. And he actually tells R that he is the man. And R says, thank you. And R also says, I never had this much fun in forever. And then when Dr. Timba comes back into the room, he 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 actually says to R that what are you doing wearing my son's hat? A robot should not be wearing Toby's hat. And then Toby tells his dad, Dad, it's okay, I don't even like the hat. And then Dr. Timba says, go to your room, as he's holding the hat in his hand. And then Toby says, Dad, and then Timba says, do as you're told. So the robot Toby go to goes to his room and he tries to find out what is different about him because he's never seen his dad mad before. And he can see these two robot cleaners talking about him and that and that the spray robot and the window cleaning robot are saying, I have never seen a robot with horns before. And then the robot Toby says, what do you mean horns? It's gel. It's hair gel. And then the two robots are shocked because because they didn't know that he could understand them. And he tries to talk to them more to figure out what is going on and why he can understand robots when he's almost out the window himself, so he trips but they do try to save him, but they don't end up doing a very, very good job because the cleaning spray robot bottle actually ends up spraying cleaner in his eye, and he just ends up flying to the ground. But he has rocket boots, so he's fine. So so the Toby robot realizes that he can fly, so he goes flying around town, and then he says to himself, "Oh, I have got to get home. Uh, I have got to go home to actually show Dad what I can do. I can fly. So I have got to go home to show Dad." So, while that is going on, Timba actually had a talk with Dr. Albert, and he said, "Oh, you just have to come here and deactivate him because he is not Toby, and every time I look at him it just reminds me that Toby is gone, so you have to come here and deactivate him, please." So when the Toby robot goes home to tell his dad that he can actually fly, the dad says, "You are not Toby. You are not my son Toby. You are a robot. And I do not want you anymore." So, feeling hurt by this, the Toby robot so feeling hurt by this, the Toby robot flies away. But before he goes, Dr. Albert tells him, "Toby, I really do think you're gonna find your place in this world because you are one special boy." And then the Toby robot says, "Didn't you hear him? I'm not Toby." So he he actually flies off, and he sits on a building that night, and he actually looks through his hand with it, and the Toby robot actually looks through his hands with his laser vision, and he says to himself, "It's true. I'm a robot. I'm not Toby." So, while he is sad, we get back to the president. And he is actually planning for the election again. But then he sees the blue core energy power is off the charts. And he says that's impossible. Both the blue core and the red core were destroyed in the explosion. But the guy who is driving the blimp plane or whatever it is tells him that it is the blue core energy. And when the president or mayor, mayor, I think it was the mayor. I am so sorry, guys. But they said presidential election, so I'm just going to call him president. So when the president sees that it actually sees that it's a blue core, but the guy who is driving says the blue core is carried by a child, and then he looks, and then he says, that is no child. Timba has gone mad. I want that blue core energy now. So they go chasing after Toby. And they actually hit Toby really, 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 really good into the trash of unforgotten robots. And then he high fives the men and say, touchdown. But honestly, I got one question. If you were just going to throw the kid off a roof, by 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 using the plane, or by using the plane or truck or whatever they're flying in, if you wanted the blue core, why not take it out when he's laying there? Like, you had your chance and you didn't take it. So anyway, Astro's alright, but while he is there with all the robots who are missing their part, he meets a robot dog who is a trash can named Trash Can. And Trash Can leads him into a trap where some kids can take him and use him in this thing that they call the robot games for the the father who adopted him for for the father who adopted for the father who adopted them hammock to use in his robot games. But when they kidnap him and put him in the sack, they realize that he's just a kid. So he just plays along and says, yeah, I'm just a kid, like you. And then they almost take the wrench that Trash Can is chewing on out of his mouth and tell him, and actually tell him, you stupid dog, we wanted robots, not kids. But Trash Can actually holds onto that screwdriver because I guess, like, well, actually it's a wrench. So I guess, like, the wrench, since he is the trash can, is actually like a dog bone, I guess, in this sense. So anyway, the kids start talking to Toby, and Toby says, actually, um, I don't actually have a home anymore. And, uh, I am from Metro City. And then Cora says, Metro City, Metro City. Oh, you guys, did you hear that? This boy from Metro City. And he's actually talking to me. I cannot wait to get home and write this in my diary as the excited moment of my life. And then Toby says, I get it. You don't like kids from Metro City. And then they start talking some more, but then some robots kidnap him. The RRF. Like, they are just robots who think that robots shouldn't be working, they should be free. And they tell him about Hamlet and how they do not like the robot games. So, they tell Toby that that they have a plan to destroy the robot games and Hamlet. That they are going to tickle him with a feather. And the robot actually gives him the name Astro. And Cora and all her friends actually go to save him from the RRF, the Free Robot Society. And they actually take him to where they live with Heimlich, and Heimlich tells Astro that he doesn't hate robots, that he actually loves robots. And he loves helping them. So, with that in mind, Toby actually ends up staying with them, and they actually end up bonding, and they actually end up building a lot of robots together. And Astro actually fixes up this big robot that they call Zog with his blue core energy. And nobody else in the house, in Heimlich's house, knows that he's a robot. And he almost tells Cora, but then he changes his mind and he says that he really likes Cora and that he just really likes being with all his friends. And we actually find out that Cora is from Metro City. And that she has been trying to contact her parents all day. But Astro got the phone working by using his blue core energy. But her parents don't end up answering the phone. Hang on, because we will come back to them. And one night when Toby is getting into bed, Heimlich actually goes into his room to say goodnight. And then he asks if Astro is feeling homesick for Metro City. And then we learn that Heimlich used to be up there with all the big inventors. From Dr. Timber to Dr. Alfred. He used to work for the big scientists at Metro City. At Metro City. But he told Astro that they didn't get his big ideas, so he left. That's what he That's what he tells Astro. But hang on, because we will come back to that. We will come back. So, it is the day of the So, it is the day of the robotic games, and the robots are getting ready to perform. And then it turned out that Heimlich attacked Astro, and he tells all the kids, "Haven't I taught you kids any better? He is a robot." And we turned out that he was actually fired from the Metro City Scientists Association because they realized that all he wanted to do is see robots fight, and all the scientists wanted to do is make the world of science and robots a a better place for everyone. So that's why he was let go. They It's not like they didn't understand him. It's just that he just wanted to see robots hurt other robots. And in Metro City, robots lived peacefully, and 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 in Metro City, robots lived peacefully. So that's the real story. That he was fired. And so, with Astro's cover blown, and that his friends know that he's a robot, he actually gets put in the game by Hamlick. And Hamlick actually gets him to face Zog, because he's made of the same blue core that Zog is made of. But Astro tells Zog that he will not fight. But Astro doesn't get hurt because he does flips in the ring, and every time he does a flip or a cartwheel, the robot misses him. And then when it's his turn to face Zog, all Zog does is pat him on the head. And Heimlich is using actually using Dr. Timba's technology that he stole from the day that he was fired on Astro. And he is ordering and he is ordering Astro to fight Zog. But Astro is still saying no, even though Heimlich is actually giving him an electric shock with that with the thing that he stole from Timba. He's actually giving him electric shock with that. But this is when Zog says that's enough. And he and he and he actually steps and and he actually and and and, and he actually steps on and Zog actually steps on high. And Zog is actually getting ready to step on Heimlich. But Astro stops him. And then Heimlich says, "What kind of robot are you?" And then the president shows up to take Astro away so he can get the blue core. And honestly, while actually giving this a while actually watching this for the channel, I forgot that he even existed because he really doesn't show that much up. He really doesn't show up on screen as much, except for this part right here. Like through the whole movie, he's like there at the beginning, he disappears and then he shows up again. So anyway, he so he actually goes with the president to get the blue cord taken out of him because because he um because he just thinks that it is the right thing to do. So, while he is going, Cora and her friends take the car away from Heimlich and go and try to save Astro, and they don't care if he's a robot. That is still their friend. So, as the president and Timba agreed, the president shows up with Toby, and Timba said, "When you find the robot, bring him to me and I will give you the blue core." So, when Timba is getting ready to take the blue core out of the robot Toby, he Timba Timba actually apologized, and then the Toby robot says, "I'm sorry that I couldn't be a better Toby, Dad." So he takes the blue core out, but he doesn't give it to the president. And then, for some reason, the president has the red core, which I don't know why the scientists didn't destroy this, because they had the chance to destroy both of the cores when they saw the accident happen. But the president gets his hand on the red core and he puts it inside the robot, and he orders the robot yet again to get the blue core out of Dr. Timba's hand when actually everything is locked down. And then Dr. and then and, and, and then Dr. Timba says, "No, if you want this core, you're gonna have to come and get it yourselves, because I'm not giving it to you." And then Dr. Alfred backs him up and says, "Yeah, if you want this core, you're gonna have to destroy both of us, because we're not giving it to you." So he gets the robot to do it, but then the robot ends up eating him and not giving him the blue core. So now, how can I say? The president is now in the robot connected to the red core for some reason. The president is still alive, but for some reason he's connected to the robot who is connected to the red core. So anyway, Dr. Timba puts the blue core back into Toby and says, you may not be Toby, you may not be my son Toby, but you are still my son. Now fly." And so the robot Toby flies out of there. And then the president robot that is connected to the red core, he actually goes after Toby because he wants to combine with the blue core so he can win the election. So throughout this whole time, the robot that is connected to the president is looking for Astro. He is saying, "Where are you, robot boy? I know you're here." And he actually gets a hold of Cora and all her friends while they are in the car searching for Astro. And Astro hears this while he is with his father because the first time the robot actually did get him, and he tried to, you know, eat him like he like the robot did with the president, but since it's connected with the blue cord, the red cord and the blue cord cannot be connected, because if they are connected, they both die. They are both connected. If the red cord and the blue cord are connected, they both die. If they are both connected. Okay. So, hearing his friends call out for help, he tells his dad, "Well, Dad, this is what I was created for. I was created to save the world, and I was created to save my friends." So he goes and saves Cora and all the other kids. But he sacrifices himself because he connects with the red core. And then there's this big explosion. And then the robot explodes. But the president is okay, but he gets arrested because he destroyed the town. So he gets arrested. And Cora and all her friends are sad because Astro is gone, but Zog actually gives Astro some of his energy. And Astro wakes up, and then everybody cheers because the town is saved. And also, we also, in the movie, don't worry, um, the movie's almost over. In the movie, we get told two things. We got Metro City and the surface. And I have no idea what the surface is. And I actually looked it up. And they don't really tell you what the surface is. So I think the kids are from the surface, but I thought the surface just meant Earth and everybody's from Earth. Because they don't really tell you what the surface is in the movie. So anyway, Astro is awake and he hugs all his friends, and Cora's parents actually have been looking for her all this time, and they hug and they tell each other how much they love each other and how much they love Cora. And it's a really, really sweet moment. So anyway, when when everybody is celebrating that Astro saved the town, there is another attack, and then his dad stops him once again, and the dad says, "Are you sure you are ready for this, Astro?" And then he says, "Dad, I was made ready." And then he flies off to go fight the eye monster. Or the eye squid. And that's the end of the movie. Bye, and I will see you guys in my next video. Oh, and one more thing. I still don't get how binding the two cords together, the red cord and the blue one, have anything to do with becoming president. Okay, bye. And I will see you guys in my next video.